Alright guys, welcome to your first lesson in 7th grade. I'm Mr. Toth. We have about, I get 15 minutes for free on YouTube, so I really pack it in. So it's really important that you pause whenever you feel like, Mr. Toth, you're going too fast. And whenever you feel that way, pause, back up, pause, whatever you need to do it so that you don't feel overwhelmed or like you're missing out information. If you feel like I'm going too fast, pause it. Now, if you can't understand me because I'm speaking too quickly, that's another story, and you let me know in class. Whatever I put on the board are your notes. This right here are your notes, and so you may need to pause it and copy it. All right? Now, for some of you guys are note challenged for whatever reason, talk to me. We can talk about photographs. Otherwise, the rest of you, these are your notes. You need to copy it, and when my homework collector collects your work, they will literally look for this to be copied into your notes, okay? And it needs to be neat. All right, what are we going to learn today? We're going to learn about integers and their absolute value. This is review. To be honest with you, this is review. Next, we're going to go into adding, subtracting, multiplying, and dividing integers. But let's talk about this. All right, what's an integer? And integers are 0, and a positive number and its opposite. So for instance, 0, 5, and -5. Integers, what are they? 0, all your positives, all your negatives. Okay, there's many ways of saying it. Those are integers. All right, so what on earth is absolute value? It is the distance from 0. So let's say I said, what is the absolute value of -5? And so if I wrote just -5, I wouldn't be saying I want the absolute value of -5. I would have to put these two brackets, absolute value brackets around it, and then that would indicate mathematically I want the absolute value of -5. What does that mean? Well, -5's here. How far is it physically from 0? 5. Okay? Well, all right, well, what is the distance of 5? What's the absolute value of 5? Well, all right, let's go to 5. How far is it from 0? 5. All right, and that's why both of these have the same answer. Both of those equal 5. Am I going quickly? Yes, because this is all review. All right, how about another one? Distance from 0, how about, okay, what if I said, Mr. Toth, why would I talk to myself? Maybe it's my dad. What is the distance, what is the absolute value of -38? All right, well if I leave it that way, that is not absolute value of 38. It just says -38. If I wanted to say, express the absolute value, I need those brackets. All right, well, what is that? Well, maybe the absolute value of -38 is 38. It is literally 38 intervals from 0. And this gets really important when you start talking about money and time. No, not money, When you start talking about time, specifically, I'll just stick with time, because time can't be negative. And so I'll talk about how this plays out later, probably tomorrow when you start problem solving. All right, I'm going quickly. That's okay. Let's do a little quick practice, okay? Here, on your paper, write absolute value, express the absolute value of 10. All right, so I want to express it. That says absolute value of 10. What does that equal? 10. All right, let's try another one. I want the absolute value of -20. Write it. All right, you should have written, if you wrote that, that does not express the absolute value. That's only negative. That says -20. Now it says the absolute value of -20. All right, well, what does that equal? 20. All right, express the absolute value of 22. Just write an expression for it. All right, there it is. Without my brackets, that doesn't mean absolute value. And I know some of you are at home arguing with me right now. And you're saying that, well, if I just write 22, that is the absolute value. And you're right, that is the answer to that. But listen to my words. I'm asking for you to write an expression that says absolute value of 22. All right? All right, how about the absolute value of 19? All right, sorry, I had to close the door. What is the absolute, express the absolute value of 19? Well, if you write that, you're wrong, because that just says 19. This says the absolute value of 19. And so what is the answer? Well, how far is 19 from 19? 19. So that is absolute value review. This is a review, that's why I'm going quickly. What are integers? Integers are 0 and its opposites. Okay? So, I have a lot of stuff on my board. That's okay. Next, quick, we kind of touched on this in class today. Remember, make your plan for when you're going to watch the videos, plan A, B. All right, let's talk about some vocabulary for negative. If you hear the word withdraw, like withdraw money from a bank account, that is a negative. You would use a negative to express that. If someone withdrew $90 from my bank account, you could express it as negative 99. How about below ground? Below zero, below sea level. All of these are negative. You would express them with a negative integer. How about, BC? The date on calendars, traditionally BC, before Christ. BC could be expressed, thought of as a negative. Loss, any kind of loss, negative. Well, what are positives? What would be if someone deposits money, a gain, in addition, anything above sea level, okay, or ground level. These are negatives, positives. This is all review. All right, so let's get to this. So I put all this out there. In fact, I'm going to erase this. I'm just going to give you another little quick. Let's just practice this really quickly. And if you're thinking, Mr. Todd, doggone it, you're going way too fast. Usually my lessons are 1 or 2 objectives, and I slowly go for it and we practice. This isn't the case today. It's a little bit different. Let's do 4 problems, and you'll notice I like to use quadrants. In this one, I want you to write an integer that expresses, I'm playing football, and I had a loss of 10 yards. How would you express that? Pause if you need to. That's right, negative 10. Nice. All right. Okay. I dove off a cliff, and I sunk 72 feet below sea level. How would I express that with an integer? Yeah. Negative 72 feet. Nice. Okay. How about this one? My mom gave me $92. I gained money. That's a positive 92. Now I could put a plus, but plus, if it's nothing there, it's implied that there's a positive. Did I say plus? I meant the positive. Same thing. All right, next one. How about this one? This one throws kids off. How about 22 degrees below zero? You hear the key word below? That's right, negative 22. All right, not too hard. Not too hard, not too hard. Let's go ahead and I'm going to erase this. Make sure you have these as notes. If you are totally confused, then I would pause at this point and watch it again. Okay? We don't want confusion. So just so you know, word problems and application, I will be using a lot more hands-on stuff in class. That is what flipped class means. I will teach you this skill, its most basic part, and then we will apply it using as much hands-on and modalities as possible, because that is when we can build in a concrete foundation of understanding, then you're more likely not to forget and to be able to use that knowledge. So let's just go to page 194, and we're just going to work through some problems. We're going to take what we know and work through the problems. 194, number 1, says a deposit of $16, and they want us to write an integer for it. All right, well, if it's a deposit, we're putting money into that account, that's a positive 16, right? Number 2. All actually a loss of 11 yards. We just did this. You write it down. It's a loss. Yeah. Negative 11 would best express that. Number 3, 6 degrees below 0. How would you express that? Go for it. Well, if it's below, that is negative 6. All right, nice. Number 4. Evaluate each expression. So we talked about that. Think about that. What do those brackets mean? You're right. That means absolute value or the distance from negative 9. Nope. The distance to negative 9 is from 0. Well, how far away is negative 9 from 0? 9. How about number 5? Ooh, this is nice. The absolute value of negative 18 minus the absolute value of negative 10. Now, let's all go back to the order of operations. Okay? Right? I use PEMDAS. PEMDAS. What does that P stand for? Yeah. That was parentheses. And hopefully whoever taught you last year, those are parentheses, those are a type of parenthesis, and guess what else? Absolute value brackets. So if we follow the order of operations, you must solve the absolute value first. So, all right, well, what is the absolute value of 18? What is the distance 18 is from 0? 18, and this is where we work down. Rewrite it, don't do it in your head. Minus the absolute value of negative 10. Well, what is the distance that negative 10 is from 0? 10. So I rewrote it, and now I can solve it. 18 take away 10 is 8. See that? Nice. Super nice. All right, let's try number 6. Number 6. I think we're going to make it. I'm always pressed for time. Number 6. Negative 11, the absolute value of negative 11 minus the absolute value of negative 6. Well, the order of operations says do your brackets first. So what is the, so you solve it. Go for it. Pause it. Go for it. All right, well, absolute value of negative 11 is 11. Keep the operation. Absolute value of negative 6. What is the distance that negative 6 is from 0? 6. What's 11 take away 6? 5. And that's your answer. Nice. Let's look at number 7. It's asking you to now graph. And, you know, so we have our little number line, 0. Let me grab my stuff. And it looks like we have 12, and it looks like we have negative 8. And we have a number set of 11, negative 5, and negative 8. And what are they asking? They're asking you to plot those on there. And if you look at the number line that they've given you, they're multiples of 2. So let's see how good I can do this. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, negative 2, negative 4, not bad. All right, well, where's 11 on here? Well, negative, positive, 10, 11, 12. There's one for the point. Where's negative 5? Ooh, now be careful. As we're counting away from 0, it counts in the opposite direction. So a lot of kids make a mistake and they put it here. It's not there. That is negative 3, negative 4, negative 5, negative 6. And where is negative 8? Right there. That is how you plot it. One of the biggest mistakes I see, most common mistakes, is when kids are working to the left and it skips intervals, it goes by 2s or 5s, they start counting the wrong way. Make sure you're counting out to the left. So I've given you feedback. I've given you a short lesson. Your job now is to do the 2 pages assigned and make sure that you go to the back and correct them and work through it. Things to remember. This expresses absolute value, or the distance from 0. What else to remember? Take your time. Struggling is common. That is, get used to it, because it's actually the best thing for your brain. Guys, I will see you tomorrow.